All right, I'd like to welcome you to the CG Network webinar. Today we are going to be addressing something that's very important, I believe, in all of life, and that is how we manage relationships. And I say especially manage them for success, because I'm sure you guys know as well as anybody that if relationships go south, our success tends to go south. The human factor, the relational factor, is such a big part of our success, our failure, of our journey, of how much we either enjoy the journey or we don't. In fact, I mean, the energy that companies put toward the identifying, the developing, the retention of human capital, of people and relationships, the amount of investment they're making currently into training that includes emotional intelligence, and so much of that is practically outworked in relationships. And so, you know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to really know by experience that how relationships go really matter. And so this is such a big, such a broad topic that we certainly can't cover everything, but I want specifically today to give you a tool. I want to look just briefly at if it'll go here. Let's see what we got. I want to understand a tool that I call the Relational Constellation. You may have seen something like this before, and my PowerPoint doesn't seem to want to be cooperating here, so we'll see exactly what's going on. There we go. Character genetics, of course. We're committed to helping our clients create accelerated, measurable, sustainable change. That's a big promise, and we work hard at that. And I'm proud to say that a lot of our clients are experiencing tremendous, accelerated, measurable, sustainable change and transformation. So it's certainly a delight. Yeah, we're having a little bugaboo here. I apologize for that delay. Well, we'll just work with it. So appreciate your patience with me on that. But we want to look at, what is it that the elite, I call the elite successful or the genius leader, what is it that they know about managing relationships that many other people don't know? And how is it that they're able to govern relationships in such a way that moves them, moves their organizations, moves their company, their vision, their calling? Many people would say, how is it that they manage relationships to move that forward and bring everybody along with them, not just for themselves? I think that's a really valuable question. And I believe it hits at the very core of what we work with here in character genetics. And as a friend of mine has said, and some of you may have heard this before, but I really want to just set a little foundation. He said this, he said, we have more books, quotes, and workshops on leadership than ever before. And that's true. And yet, we have a leadership crisis. It is a character crisis at the core. And that's a strong statement. I believe there's a lot of truth and weight to that statement. I really do. And I think it's important to know, what I have this saying I've come to really adopt, and that is that our character is the real inventor of our results. I mean, think about that. I look at all the results in my life. What's creating them? I think it's the internal character. And here's how I define character. That's important. The core thinking and values that predetermine one's behavior and results. That's Bob Harrison and I added a little. It's the internals, right? That science and research demonstrates this, that over 90% of the decisions that we made are made in our subconscious, or the hidden parts. That part of us that we're unaware of, largely, below the waterline of awareness. And it's the deep-seated belief systems about the world, about myself, about many people have faith about God or about um, men, women, money, business, hard work, race, white, black, all of that. The deep-seated subconscious beliefs are actually what's making our decisions over and over and over, lightning speed, creating the actual results that we have. There's a wise saying that says, out of the heart flow the issues of life. And I think that's really true. Sometimes we think, oh, life comes at us and it's all imposed upon me. I'm not so sure how true that is. Certainly circumstances happen outside of our control, for sure. But how I see it and how I perceive it, how I give meaning and my perspective on it, and my reaction to it, and my investment into it, and how I respond, all of that comes from inside of me coming at what's going on. And so it really is that out of the heart, out of that hidden subconscious place is where the issues of my life are really created and solved. And so I look around at my results and I can see that really it's coming from that place down inside. So here's what we're going to look at briefly today. We're going to look at this tool, the Relational Constellation. In a few moments, I have a video. It's a teaching that I did. It's about 10 minutes or so. And I want you to get your notes out, get your paper out. You're going to draw a bullseye like the one I have on the board behind me. And the tool, I'm going to teach you and walk through that. When we're done with the video, we'll actually take some time and fill it in, take some questions, work on it. I have some other observations and points I really want to emphasize with you. But my goal is that even today, and it's certainly going away from today, you'll have a tool that you can process your relationships in your life through and maximize them for greatest results. Okay, and not just selfish results. I mean, I think I truly win when everybody around me wins as well. So it's not just so that I get things from people or whatever, but it's how do I move relationships in and out of my life and of the proximity of my time, my energy, and my emotions so that I'm able to move forward and be a good steward of the vision and mission and calling and purpose of my life so that I get it done in a powerful way. And so we're going to look at that tool and you're going to see there how to understand how to move away from energy that's draining you. Would that be helpful? I mean, have you got any relationships that are kind of like, the big suck? Just kind of suck energy, suck emotion, just suck time, and there's stress or tension there. Yeah, we're going to talk about identifying those and then what to do about those. Also, how to enter into new and powerful relationships with others that are critical for your success and your peak performance. Some people just think relationships just happen. I don't know, they're just sort of there. There's an element of that for sure, but primarily I'm going to suggest that we actually enter relationships, we maintain relationships, we determine the quality of them or not, and we exit relationships. We start new relationships, and all of that can be done thoughtfully and intentionally, in a way that really maximizes my performance, my results. I want to help you uncover how to bring experts into your inner circle for a season for rapid growth. Wouldn't that be nice? You think, man, there's just something missing. What is it? There's a chance that part of what is missing, so to speak, is a key relationship, and the flow between you and this expert or consultant or coach or whatever it is, person in your sphere that has something and has demonstrated the ability to do something that you either don't have and want, or that you'd like to be able to create. And then we're going to explore just the current relational constellation. So. And I refer to this a little in the video too. My dad, Gary, is one of my life heroes. He's amazing. He's retired now. He's down in Florida, nice and warm down there. But I remember, in fact, I just was with him in November, and I asked him over the breakfast table one morning. I said, Dad, what if you had a couple of pieces of advice for me from your whole life that you really want me, your son, to really get? What would it be? It's a pretty big question. And without hesitation, he said again what he said, and I remember him saying many times as a kid. He said, Randy, if you want to change your life, change your relationships, or change your friends, really is what he said. You want to change your life, change your friends. And that's important to me because of all the things he could say he wants to pass on, that came right out, right at the, right one of the very top things. So let's see what we got next here. You've heard me say this probably before, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but there's actually been a great study that was done in 2000 called the Genius Study. And it asked the question, why is it that some people are able to succeed at a much higher level than others, given some of the same talent, skills, environment, and so forth. And the study was huge. It was not just a little sampling. It was 197,000 employees from 23 countries, and some of the brightest minds really went into this and looked and studied. And here's what they came out with. They determined from all the data, the hard research, that no statistically significant correlations between performance and natural talents, which is shocking. All roles, all industries, all levels, the two acquired talents that set their what they call genius level leaders or elite leaders, I call, apart from everybody else, were these two: self-awareness and authenticity. Self-awareness, and so understanding more fully what is in that 90% plus of hidden belief systems that is driving my behavior and driving my results, becoming more and more aware. And so in this application today around relationships, self-awareness around relationships is a big area of growth and development, so that I can see them in a different way, evaluate them, analyze them, make decisions around them. And then the authenticity piece is that piece of being real, matching and bringing together my beliefs and my words and my actions, those three realms, bringing them together so that I'm whole, I have integrity, that I'm 100% or more and more the same through and through. And so we are going to do some work today in growing those two very important skills. And I do this in character genetics, and some of you, I think on the call, pretty much everybody, that you understand the govern mantle, this mantle to govern. I define it this way: the mastery of governing self, sphere, and culture, resulting in maximum life imprint. It's governing, it's directing the flow of my thinking, my behavior, my actions, directing it, opening up and focusing on and experiencing certain things while shutting off, limiting, preventing the flow of other things. And it's an inside-out job. We work on this through all the workshops: reveal, respond, resolve, limitless, the coaching that we do. We work on this mastery of governing self, sphere, and culture. And it's an inside-out job. There's this whole realm inside of me, my personal, where I gain authority over that and I govern that well. And then in my sphere, my relationships with others, positions, opportunities that come my way, and ultimately in making a difference in the culture of my business or my city, organization, even the nations, as I understand how to govern myself with self-awareness, authenticity, and some other things. So let's see what we have here. Apparently 14 of 24 doesn't want to come up. So let's do this. Let's go to the video. I want to, we'll give that a moment. Maybe it's still uploading or something, but what do we got here? Technology. Fun. Now, well, there it did. It came up. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Relational Constellation video. Yay! We're going to watch about a 10 or so minute video. And again, I want you to take out your paper, be ready to draw, be ready to do some engaging, and then we're going to debrief on this. And I want to make some more points after our video. So let me bring up our video here. Hopefully we'll get this where the volume can work all right.
Hi, Randy Bixby, Character Genetics, and I want to talk with you for a few moments about managing relationships. I call this the relational constellation, and I actually have three different constellations that I work with people in the training and the workshops and coaching. But I'm just going to do this one today, and it's very powerful. And it is something that many people I've discovered don't really give a lot of thought to. Many people feel like, relationships, they just are what they are. People in my life, they're just there. They kind of mysteriously appear or leave. And I don't really give intentional thought to managing relationships, ending relationships, starting relationships, looking for new relationships. And one of the things that real achievers, real people that get things done understand is that who you associate with really matters. My dad was a great man, love him. He used to tell me as a kid, he said, Randy, you want to change your life, change your friends. I might say, well, I can't change my friends. Well, I'm here to say, yeah, you can. and you probably should, for good reasons. And it's not out of judgment and being better than, but it's really about understanding who we are, why we're here, and where we're going, and what's required to get there. And there is a very real human and relationship element to anything that we want to create in life, because we're in the human family, we're put in families, and we're in organizations, we're in businesses, we're in churches, ministries, where we're in relationship. And I want you to just hear this out, interact with me on this, and see how this might really shift things for you in your life in a faster way than maybe you've thought of before. So let's just jump in. This is called a relational constellation. What I want you to do is I want you to draw this out. Grab a piece of paper. You can push pause on the video, whatever. Grab a sheet of paper. Draw this out. It's basically a target. There's two lines, going top to bottom and side to side in each circle as you work your way out. And what you're going to do is you're going to actually, in a moment, you're going to put names on this constellation that will represent your current relational constellation. I'm going to give you some guidelines on how to do that. Here's how you do it. First of all, you start with yourself. So this is you. All right? So put your name in there. You're in the center. By the way, the relationship you have with yourself is a critical relationship. You know this. How can we love others unless we love ourselves? We can't. And a lot of times we see others the way we see ourselves. There's a whole other thing. That's an important thing, but you're in the center.
I'm just going to give that a second to load in. I'm not sure what is happening. I think it's just internet speed issue. I apologize about that, but I'll let it try to catch up for a moment or two here, and give you also a moment to draw out your constellation if you haven't done that yet. And I want you to be thinking about the context for this, and we'll go through this later. You can set different contexts for this tool, meaning I could set it for family, and I could do the whole thing, those closest to me on the inner part, and then moving farther and farther away from me, close meaning in time, energy, and the flow back and forth, the time, attention that I give. Whoever gets more of it is on my inner circle. Whoever gets less of it is on an outer circle. And I could set it as just my family, or I could set it as just my work, or I could set it as just my community, or I could set it as just a certain project I'm working on. So I can put different contexts around this tool to look at the relationships involved. But what we're going to do today, just to start with, is just whole life. Like when you look at your whole life and all your relationships, who is it that gets the most of your time and energy? And whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. And I want you to be real. It's not what you want them to be, it's what they are. Okay, that's important. It's a snapshot right now in this moment. When you look at the relational side of your life, what is it right now? We want to discover and have an awareness around what it actually is right now in all of life. So you think of all of your spheres together right now. Who is it that gets the most of you, your time, your energy, right? And those go on the inner circle, one name per line. And I think I'll let this go some more, and you can do that. But let's see if that'll help it out.
In a moment, I want you just to begin to write names. And here's the guidelines. There's only one name per line. Okay, one name per line. We all have a limited number of spots in our inner circle. Time is limited, right? Energy is limited. You can't have 100 people in this innermost circle. It doesn't work that way. We all have a limited number. So you're going to write closest to you on these closest lines the people in your life who get the most time from you, and you give the most emotional energy to, and get the most of your energy. Time and energy and investment or withdrawal from you is who makes it in here. It might be your kids or your spouse, or your family, or your inner circle, your leadership team, but you're going to rate these or rank these based upon who is it that gets the most of your time, the most of your thought, the most of your energy in your life. The 4 people that do that the most go on the innermost lines. So you put their name in there, Tom, Jerry, whoever it is, right? You put the names in there. Now, go one more layer out and put the next 4 people who, on those criteria, are your inner circle. Put their names there. And then so forth, and so on, and so forth, and so on. You might want to pause this for a while and work on that. And when you're ready, you come back. So now,
all right, so let's just take a moment here. And if you have any questions about this, please feel free to fill it in the chat bar, and I can kind of coach you through this. But what is the current state of your relationships? And again, you're rating them on time, energy, and either investment or withdrawal. So are you making great investments into, or who is making great withdrawals on you? Right? That, and I can say this way: the flow of energy, as well as who's getting most of your time, and so forth. So inner, and then the next, and the next. Some of you may be thinking, wow, I don't really have that many people to put in here. That's a good notice. I'm not saying it is, but oftentimes people do this and they'll say, wow, I've really shrunk my relational constellation. There's not that many people that I'm really engaged. I think more than ever, I'm noticing with people a real isolation that's growing, especially even among elite leaders. There's an interesting dynamic that's going on. I'm not sure I totally understand it. It has to do maybe some with technology and our ability to just get information at the snap of a finger, and I'm not sure what all the dynamics are, but many people are finding there's not a whole lot of people that they are really spending time. Others are exactly opposite. There's tons of people. They're maybe tired and overworked, overwhelmed with the number of flow. But go ahead and do that. Anybody have any questions on that? Just continue to work your way out through the layers. Give you just another maybe 30 seconds or so, and I'll start the video back up and we'll continue. All right, let me fire this back up.
Now you've got names on here. And these names represent who is it that's getting the most of your time and energy and attention and emotional care. And then the ones that are out here are the ones receiving less, but they're still on your grid. This is a very eye-opening experience for a lot of people. And I do this in our workshops. I ask, well, what did you observe? What did you notice? So I ask you, what do you notice about this? Some people notice, you know what? I don't have very many people at all in this. I say, okay, well, what do you think about that? And I may ask you if you're one of those, what do you think about that? Maybe an indicator that part of the reason why you're achieving the level of results that you are, they may be great or they may not be great in different areas, but they have something to do with the people in that relational sphere, that relational constellation. You might ask yourself, well, who else do I want in there? So I know who I can engage in relationships with. Or you might even ask, you know what, there are a lot of people in here that are taking a lot of my time, a lot of my energy. They're really not congruent or in alignment with where I'm going. They're really more of a taker as opposed to a giver. And you might understand that, you know what, there's people out here that you want in here, but these spots are already taken by people that are takers instead of givers. And so guess what? You may want to move those people out to move other key people in. You say, well, how do you do that? There's a number of ways. We talk about them in the workshop, but just a couple. One is you have an open, honest, responsible conversation with them, communication. And another way is just simply stop giving any attention and see what happens. Another way is to just tell them, listen, hey, for this next season, I'm really focused on this, and I'm not going to have so much time, for us, whatever. But it's not never, but it's just not now. My time for you. It's not never, but it's not now. You'd be surprised when you start to shift your availability to people. What happens? Some people, nothing happens, and that should say something. Some people get all bent out of shape, and of course that needs to be dealt with. But I promise you, part of the reason that you are exactly where you're at is because of the people around you. And one of the things I've noticed this over and over and over with people, with myself, is when I really want to change and go to another level, when I want to grow my company, grow my church, have more influence, absolutely, this relational constellation is one of the first and most important things that shifts. And so, not only do I recognize it shifting, but I can cause it to shift. There may be people that you'd like to talk to. Let's say you really want to pioneer a new work, a new ministry, new outreach. But your current constellation of people, they really don't have a passion or experience or giftedness or whatever in that, which means you might want to engage a new person with that. But you don't even know who they are yet. Like, who's an expert in training? Who's an expert in equipment? I don't even know this Bixby guy. Or I don't even know so-and-so. Guess what? Start a relationship, right? Engage a person. Define the relationship. Whether it's, an intensive mentoring kind of relationship, a coaching relationship, just a friendship, a casual relationship, or a working relationship. But here's what's interesting. You've got to make room for a person before you can put a person in here. Here's what's another good use of this tool is you can have a relational constellation for your own personal life, family life. You can have a separate one for your work, your ministry, your business. You can have, different ones for different sets of circumstances. But I promise you, when you begin to pay attention to your relational constellation, you'll begin to see shifting in your results. And it's very powerful. And I'm not saying you blame other people so you kick them out of your relational constellation, but I'm saying you can become aware. What is the flow of energy like between me and this person? And is it a priority for me before God, in my whole, life and going on, or is it not? And who are the few people that I want to pull in closest, because I'm limited to how many I can have closer, to be able to go to the level that I really want to take my life, my ministry, my business, my outreach, all right? And the truth is this: unified strategic action with other people are one of the keys to transformation in a city, in a culture. And so finding out who is like-minded with you and where you're going and moving them closer in. It's going to support you in doing it. And there has to be room for them to come in. And there's a whole lot more to this, but that's the basic tool. And I encourage you to do this on a regular basis. Do it every quarter or a couple of times a year, or specifically if you're about ready to make a change, to do something new. Evaluate where your relationships are at, what the quality is like, what the flow of energy is like, the time demands, and is that really the relational mix that's going to support you in moving forward, or does some things need to shift for a season or permanently? And don't be surprised who God begins to bring in, or you begin to attract to you, people you don't even know yet. As you get clear on your mission and you get committed to shaping and moving things. Listen, my dad was right. If you want to change your life or change your results, change your friends. In a lot of ways, that's true. Doesn't mean I'm better than anybody else or not, but it means I'm focused on who I am, what I want to do, and I want to get there with people who are in agreement with me, in alignment with me, and we're going there together, and I'm out to find them and connect with them. Listen, I hope this has been helpful. Go back, play it through a few times, and use this tool. It's a very profound tool. I'd like to hear from you. Have some questions or need some more support? You know how to get in touch. So this is Randy, Character Genetics, Permanent Shifts, Lasting Change.
All right, while I pull this back up here, share with me some of your observations in the chat bar, if you would. What did you observe as you went through this exercise? What are your notices? And let's look at what that might mean for you. So go ahead and go over to the chat bar now. Dave, let me see here. I'm gonna get this up. Okay. Do you make a distinction between family and friends? You certainly can set a whole different context for how you look at your constellation. In the exercise today, I'm asking you to do it all together. So you look at all of your life. So you might have a mix of family and work relationships and any other relationships for that matter. So right now it's just looking at the whole. Who gets the most of your time and attention and investment or withdraw, and then who next most. So it may be some family, maybe some work. Carrie, I thought I didn't have that many people, but then more and more started to fill my page. Made me excited to see so much support and diversity. Yes, that's a great notice. Obviously, you've got maybe more resource and more support and more opportunity and more, to pull on than you may have thought. That can be really encouraging. Linda says, a new idea of allotting time for access depending on where I want to go. Yeah, great awareness. This is governing your time and energy and the flow of that with other people. Very, very, very important. And sometimes we're going to look here in a minute. As soon as this comes up, we're going to look at what are some strategies for moving people out to make room for others to come in. So just really what you're seeing there, Linda, I want to give you some more practical thoughts and tools around how to do that. Ray says breakthroughs in our lives may be dependent on our intelligence and work ethic than our relational constellation resource opportunities. Ray Beef is less dependent. Yeah, true story. Both are ingredients to our success, right, and our peak performance, for sure. Let's see. So, I'm bugged that this has a delay on it. I apologize for that. So, we'll just work with it here. Any other questions or notices, observations as a part of that exercise that you came up with? Anyone? I'm going to blow this up a little bit bigger so you can see. Here is the tool actually, and if you want this, just let me know either in the chat bar or email me. I'll send you a copy of this. We actually spend quite a bit of time on this in the Respond workshop, our second workshop, in some really helpful ways. We don't have the time, right, to get into all of that right now, but we look at things like, uh, what's our relationship like with ourself? Where do we put God or our faith, for those of you that have that as a part of your life? What's real today? I mentioned how important that is. Who are they? Look at each name and the time energy flow. And identify who needs to be moved out to create space and who needs to be moved in. And then make a plan to do that. Let's see what we have here. You notice some moving in and out in different layers. Yeah. Good. And I think it certainly can happen almost subconsciously, right? When we're making shifts or changes and making decisions, how much more would it benefit us, though, to actually give thought and awareness to it? And so let's look at, and what else did Amy say? Just need to see the shift from the last time you did this. Yes, excellent. So not going away, just either closer or not as close, and then there are some that will always stay in that spot most likely. Yeah. And again, this isn't right or wrong, and it's not like I'm judging other people, I'm better than them, or no, it's none of that. It's who am I, where am I going, and how do I get there, and who's a part of that mix for me. And it may change slightly from season to season. In and out, some will stay for sure. Dave, you're encouraged to see who's moving closer to the center. Excellent. You guys are going for it. Good. So let's look at this just for a few moments. How do I make space in the relational constellation? So this is somebody who's in closer to you, and you've identified that they may be taking a lot of time, energy, maybe more withdraw than investment. And it's not that they're bad or they're wrong, but you're thinking, you know what? I can see that I want to bring somebody who's farther out, or somebody even that I haven't even identified yet, a coach, a mentor, a trainer, or whatever. I want to bring them in closer for this season, and there's no spots open. And that's what's real. We can't just keep shoving people on those lines. We have limited time and availability, so I've got to actually move somebody out. So how do I do that? Here's one. Self-awareness first starts and continues with this principle. It's one of the reasons why we focus so much on this in our Reveal workshop, the 16 hours, is to become aware of what's really going on inside of me and around me. And if I'm aware, this tool is a tool of awareness, among other things. You're just even able to see, well, let's see, who would I move out? What is the flow? And you can identify somebody on there that at least for a season, 90 days or a year, whatever, or maybe permanently, that you identify this person I need less time with, so I'm going to move them out farther, and I need to create space to move somebody in. Here's another principle. Just let it go. Sometimes people I notice get stuck, I do too at times, get stuck around the thought of moving people away from me. And I want to just suggest to you that try just letting it go for a while. I mentioned it in the video. There's sometimes that we think, I believe we think, this is my view, that people think about us or want to be around us or have more interest in us than they actually do. And one way to find out is to simply let that relationship go for a while and see if anything happens. Do they contact you? Do they reach out to you? Or is it just out of sight, out of mind? And that's not a judgment. Just what is it? I prefer the next bullet there. I prefer to have open, honest, responsible communication with people, especially if I'm moving somebody that's really close to me and I'm spending a lot of time and energy with, and I'm moving them out to create more room. I feel like I want to talk with them about what's going on in my life and what's happening. And so open, honest, responsible communication doesn't make it about them and about anything why they don't deserve or anything to be close, but it's about me. I'm setting apart this time in my life. I'm headed in this direction. I really need to focus, and I'm choosing to focus. And so, I won't be available as much for whatever over this next period. And I'm asking for your understanding there, and it's because I'm really focusing on heading in this direction. Maybe they take that, maybe they don't. But having open, honest, responsible communication, I think, is important to eliminate. In the silence, people fill the silence many times. So I prefer to fill that silence with what's really going on. Say, listen, it's not that I never want, to have a closer relationship with you again, but just for this season, it's not. I think I said in the video, not never. It's just not now. You need to create some margin there. Another thing I just want to point out is it takes courage to thoughtfully, intentionally work this relational constellation. It takes courage. It takes confidence. It takes a clarity and a clear vision of it's just not random. I don't like you anymore. No, it's got to make sense. Where am I heading? What training do I need? What support do I need? What insight do I need? And even for those of you with a faith background, who is coming into my life that I may even be unaware of, but I want to make space for it. To do it, to be aware of it, to be decisive around it, to act with courage and passion, to communicate. Those are all important parts of creating space. Now, once you've got space there, how do you fill it? Sometimes that can be awkward or difficult for people, especially if it's a new experience of opening a new relationship. Here's some thoughts that I find helpful. When you identify a person who, they're getting the results that you'd want, I'd say that's a really good thing. Be aware and identify who is it that can help me get to that next level. Who's already got a good marriage that I can pull on, or who's already got a successful business that I trust and I'd like to have a relationship with, or who is it that's an expert, or who is it that's a coach, or who is it that's a trainer, or who is it that is in my life that I know about, or who is it that's out there that I don't necessarily even know personally. I have worked this tool with people, excuse me, that's my intercom. I worked this tool with people that I didn't even know. Identifying them in something specific that they carried or they had that I wanted, and I engaged in a relationship with them. And so how do you do that? Well, I identify them. If they here's one good way: if they have a need, I meet it. I see it down later. I add value. Usually it's this way. People that really have something to offer, there's a lot of people that want what they have. One of the ways to think that I think is really healthy is, how can I enter a new relationship with somebody who has what I want, who has a lot of demand on them? How can I add value to them? Or how can who I am also be a win for them? And so, I've intentionally started relationships and asked that very question of the people that I'm engaging with. I express my desire. I really admire what what you carry, or what you produce, or how you think, or what you've done, and I'd really like to step closer to you and get some insight and some understanding. I as well, have different things that I'm gifted at, that I do, and I'm curious, what is it that I have that can be a benefit to you, or how can I add value to you? And that question will really trigger in somebody who really understands that they want their relationships to be a two-way street. And it'll set you apart from people that just want to take, as somebody who also wants to give. Another thought is that pursuit is the proof of desire. You'll never possess what you're not willing to pursue. Isn't that a powerful quote? Desire will determine your destiny, at least in part. Be courageous. Pursue those people who you see have something you want. Here's another couple really keys, and I don't have a lot of time to break them down, but I want to just put them in here. To keep your agreements is an important principle in all of life. Be a person of your word, have integrity. But to keep agreements, when you're reaching out to coaches, trainers, mentors, people of influence that you want to bring into your circle, I don't believe there's anything that will repel them, push them away faster than breaking your agreements with them. If you agree to submit something, submit it. You agree to do some work, do it. If you agree to call them at a certain time, call them at a certain time. Whatever the agreements that you make as you engage in these new relationships, keep those agreements. If trust is broken, a new relationship doesn't have a lot of chance, and even frankly, even an established relationship may not thrive or will not thrive where there's broken agreements. Here's one I picked up just personally along the way, and that's to resist entitlements. You ever have people make promises to you, and you're really hoping they'll keep them, but they don't? Especially somebody that has really done something that you want to have their influence. You want to relate with them. You want to do business with them, and this has happened to me numerous times. It used to just really bug me. I mean, keep your agreements. Here I am, keep my agreements. Why don't you just do what you say? And there's a lot of ways to go with that, but ultimately, in how I steward my own heart, my own thinking is, I'm not going to stay in that place of entitlement that they owe me. They owe me this. They owe me that. They said they do this. They said they do that. It just leaves me disappointed and sets me up for just a lot of tension. And so, just to be clean, be present, be in the moment, and then finally, another thing is to work on increasing your emotional intelligence. Work on increasing your own self-awareness, personal responsibility, empathy, trust, because a high EQ person tends to have a richer quality of relationships with people. And a lower emotionally intelligence, lower EQ, tends to run into problems in relationships. More so. Let me give you a couple more, and I want to take some questions here and make sure that this is useful. I thought this was really interesting. This is not mine. I don't know whose it is. I picked it up at a seminar I was at somewhere, and I did not catch who's the author of it. I can just tell you it wasn't mine, but I thought it was really good. How to Fill Openings is continuing on that theme, and it's knowing the difference between a parasite and a protege. So, the other part of this relational constellation is you may be the mentor, you may be the coach, you may be the one that others are looking to bring into their relational constellation, and you want to be smart about how you interact and make that happen. And so here's some thoughts. And by the way, mentors, coaches that you go after as well, they'll be looking for this in you as well. A parasite wants what's in a mentor's hand, but a protege wants what's in a mentor's heart. A parasite wants a mentor's wealth, but a protege wants a mentor's wisdom. A parasite wants what a mentor earns. A protege wants what a mentor has learned. A parasite wants to hear the mentor. A protege wants to heed the mentor. I thought that was really good. In both sides, as a protege or as a person looking to go outside and bring someone in who has skill or expertise, or that would be the protege. It's important to show up that way, after their heart and their wisdom, what they've learned, and actually do what they say. That heed the mentor is important. The parasite, thanks, Carrie. Yikes, I think I might be both. That's good awareness. I think I can see myself in this definitely at different times through the years. Hopefully more and more now. Because of the awareness and the work, I'm able to land more as a protege in my approach with others. And I definitely look to those coming to me to see if it's a parasite or a protege. That has really become evident at this point in my life. But yeah, let's see. Here's another important principle that we work on through all the character genetics training, but also it applies to relationships. If we want to change things fast, And we don't always have to change things fast, but oftentimes if the pain is high or the need is great or the passion is there, we want to make quick change. And one of the keys of accelerated change that we work on is revelation. People think change has to take forever and is hard. This is simply not true. If we have a revelation about what's really stopping us, take responsibility for it, and take action. Take action to remedy it, sorry. Change can be fast. And I want to bring that into this webinar on how to manage relationships, because this fits when it comes to relationships. Certain relationships right now have us, or at least are a part of us being stuck or producing what we have right now. And that might be good, might be bad. And I don't even really like those words, but it might be what we really want and where we're headed, or it might not be. It might be what we don't want. And sometimes it takes a revelation, it takes an awareness to come into like a tool like the Relational Constellation and just identify who are the people, who are the players, and which of them may be contributing to slowing me down, stopping me, keeping me not taking those courageous steps or whatever. And to take action to change those once there's an awareness that that's really what's going on, can actually bring change and transformation very quickly. I think this is one of the areas that will bring change, I think, quicker than many other areas, is changing of relationships. And that's just food for thought. We'll see what's coming up here in a moment on the next slide. But does anybody have any questions, comments around your own life or application of this tool? Something that you recognize as you looked at it and you're thinking, wow, I need to make this change or that change. You'd like a little insight or have a question about that. Any questions at all as we wind up our time together today? I want to make sure this is helpful specifically to you today as you're working on this. Some of you might be typing. I'll keep an eye on that. But I do want to just say this. I believe that now more than ever, coaching, especially experienced and expert coaching, is such a powerful opportunity for people to bring somebody into their relational constellation for a season to really help them process a number of things. That I just really think, you think, well, who would I bring if I really wanted help with my business or my marriage or my, whatever, my health? What kind of people? I don't know. Who could help? A qualified and an experienced coach can be a wonderful person. I just think, I've got another couple of tools, another couple of relational constellation tools that I use. One of them is like a board of directors. This is like, who is it that's in your life that's on your life team? Who's on your team? Who's your butcher, your baker, your grocer, your mechanic, your doctor, your dentist, your lawyer, your business coach or mentor coach. Who are those key people that are on Team Carrie or Team Amy, Team Dave, Team Ray, or Team Linda, whatever? Who are they? Have you identified them? And how's the team working for you? Identifying a coach, and I just have these stats here because these are measurables around coaching. Some people aren't aware of them. I think they're very compelling. I know I hire a coach and have now for over 2 years, more than one coach. And I know that I enjoy being a coach with folks and enjoy helping them move forward in their lives. But here's just some of the data about what coaching can produce. I mean, that's really, $7.90 return for every dollar invested. If you could put $1 in and get almost 8 out, that's a pretty good thing. I'd put money there. um, the 500 Fortune 500 firms reported a 529% return on investment. Wow, these are hard numbers, um, and so forth. Let's see here, Carrie. As you went through others that match what we were seeking, I realized some folks might be good to bring closer. Good. Then think, how can I add value? How do you add value? One way is to simply ask them, what are you passionate about? What's going on in your life? And as they share with that, you'll get a grid for your own giftedness, your own kind of things, and it'll become apparent. And you can simply ask, well, do you need any help there, or is there anything I could do that would be helpful for you in that dream, that endeavor? And it might even just be, one of the greatest resources that we all have are relationships. And so even in engaging in a new relationship, listening to the other person and what they're passionate about, what they're doing, maybe part of what I can bring to them to add value is to make introductions to others in my network, to, expand extend rather my own relational constellation to them for new clients, new business, or expertise that they're needing or wanting. Or it could be any other thing that you have expertise on, or I did this recently with somebody I respect very much, an international person, global trainer, speaker, author, and I met them, but I wanted to be in relationship with them, and I called them. And I found out what was being important to them, and they were working on developing some training, and I said, well, would it be helpful if I, worked on this for you? And it was absolutely. So I worked my tail off for free. I mean, my time. I worked my tail off and presented some things to them. Long story short, that opened the door for me to go do some training for them. That opened up number of relationships. That launched my business at the time, and continues to, and that continues to grow in a very, very powerful way. And it was because I just found out what was important and something that I had skill at and brought it to the table. Hopefully that's a couple ideas. Let's see here, Ray. You're noticing that your relational constellation has changed substantially in 6 months. I'm wondering whether this tool is something that I need to pick up every 6 months to keep momentum in life surging ahead. Yes and yes. In fact, when there's a lot of transition going on, is a great time to use this tool. So I would say more often than 6 months, every quarter. When things are pretty stable and things are going well, you may, and you're producing the things that you want, there's less of a need to be aware, perhaps, of the. There's still a need, but less of a need to be aware of what's going on and shifts you want to make. But certainly, as you're making big changes, as things are shifting a lot, is a good time to go through this tool again. And here's another thing, just a little deeper, is when you get proficient at this, you can put this tool into practice in different contexts, which are helpful. So the work context, or the coaching context, or the church context, or the community context. If you really want to make a difference in your community, think of the value of making a relational constellation with where you sit in terms of relationships with people in the community, and which ones are existing and good or not good, or flowing good or not, and then if you really want to make an impact in the community, who are those key people? Is it the mayor, or is it the city council, or is it the whatever school superintendent, or who are the people that you want to be in relationship with to make an impact in your community? So there's a number of ways to use the tool. Today we were working on just kind of whole life to get an awareness of the picture of what's going on. This can be a helpful tool in specific contexts as well. Okay. We are at our time. Is there, if there is any urgent question, I'll take it here quickly. Otherwise, I just want to encourage you to and even if it's not me, if it's somebody, consider coaching. consider engaging with a qualified, experienced coach, and let it be helpful to you. Listen, it's been great to be with you. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.